I'm back at the seeding table. I've already got a slot here filled with soil, and I think we're gonna go ahead and we'll start with onions, and I'll see how I'm feeling about seeding, doing another video for leeks and fennel, considering it's the exact same technique. So the way that we're going to do this for the onions today is going to be the same thing you would do for leeks or fennel. So general rule of thumb, one open flat like this, 10 by 20. We put 5 rows of 100 seeds per row, and how do we actually figure out that it's 100 seeds? Well, in here I have 1,000 seeds, and I could take the time to count out 1,000 seeds. But I'm not going to do that. So we're going to take a little mini scale here, and I'm going to set it to 0, and I'm going to measure the entire seed packet here. We're going to see how much it weighs. It tells me how many seeds per pound, but they don't actually give you a weight. So, enough shenanigans. Let's see how much this onion seed weighs. So I've dropped a significant amount here. I'm going to try and pick up the little pieces here that I've dropped. Second here, I'll speed this up to post. There we go. A few little bits here. Sweet. Here. Alright, final weight is 33.4. I'm just going to use a calculator on my phone here. I should have a calculator out in the greenhouse, but I use my phone for most things. So 33.4 grams is 1,000. So if we want 100, I'm just going to get a piece of paper out here. We want to have 33.4 grams is 1,000. If we want 100, no, actually, we don't want 100. We want 500. Because we're going to do 500 at a time. It's 100 per row. So 500, I don't even need a calculator for this. So 500 half. Well, I do actually need a calculator. Is that true? Half of 33.4 is 16.7. 16.7. So I'm going to pour back into the container here until I get to 16. Oh. Here's where it's tricky. Turn this back on. I don't think the weight's going to be the same now. Because I had zeroed the lid before, so that's not going to help us. 16.7. So I have to pour in here. Sorry guys, this is a bit disorienting because these little seeds, they actually look like perlite, and if they get too close to the soil, I may start to lose some of them. Which is like not ideal. I understand why they wanted to have it this coating white because it's white onion, but it's just like if you have perlite in the mix, then could pick it up, and that's obvious what's perlite. And what's the seed? So just drop it in there. So let's try this again. So 43.09, I can actually figure out how much the lid weighs by doing some math here. So 43.09 will goes with the lid minus without the lid means 9.69 for the lid. So whatever this is minus 9.69. 17.92. That's pretty darn close to half. So we're gonna go with that. So half in one, half in the other, and actually, hold on. Yeah, it was close enough. So start with this one. It's got a bit of soil mixed into it. So get dealt with first offs. So I'll just pour it into my cedar here. It's a lot of seed actually, so it goes past the limit. The edges here, I'm going to try and make it work with the little plant tag. I'll just take the plant tag here and try and scooch them either up onto the pile or out to the front runway. Just enough so I can get the lid on. Once I have the lid on, it's not going to matter if it's overflowed a bit. I'll have more room to go up vertically. So right now, instead of height, you know what? I'm going to use the cedar as is with the top open. It'll be fine like that. So what I need to do now is with this mix, it's a bit moisture. I'm going to start in the middle. I always do. So I just draw my finger down the middle of the flat. Any excess soil, I'll pull it out, throw it onto the side of the table. So I'm actually removing a bit of soil, but I'll be adding some back later. This is just to create the seeding channel, but it works better if you take the soil out. You have the place to do it. Next, you can start on the inside or the outside, but you need 5 rows altogether. I find personally it's easier to go with the one closest to the middle, and then the outside one last. So I'm doing 2 at the same time here, removing any soil out of the channel, and I'll go once over the middle row because I might disturb it a little bit, and then I'll make my last 2 rows on the sides here. But at least doing this last channel here, it disturbs 1 on each side instead of 2 on both sides. So it's not as much work. It's not as much work to get the channels back. There we go. Got 5 little strips there, hopefully you guys can see. And then what I'm going to do is turn it around to the side, like that angle better. And I'm going to take this half of my 1,000 seeds, which is theoretically around 500, maybe it's 550, maybe it's 450. It's around half. And I'm going to try and evenly spread it, which would mean 100 per row, theoretically. It's not exactly that. But the idea is when you're going here, you don't want to try and drop too many in the same spot. You want to kind of create like a line. So you want to be moving as you're dropping, kind of controlling the slow seeds with your fingers if you need to. And you can kind of place them out. It works well, I find, actually, with a pelleted seed like this to replace them in the groove, because if they're not one on top of each other, they will do better. It'll be easier to transplant, and they'll have more room to grow. The thing is that it's like easy to singulate them in the holes, but because they're so round, they slide very well in the seeder, so it's hard to not get like more than one that drops at the same time. But once they're in the hole, even if you dropped a bunch, it's easy to kind of like spread them out. But this is pretty well actually perfect. Honestly, I'm gonna probably have extra seed, so what I'll do is I'll do all 5 channels. I may do all 5 channels on both flats. Since this is only 1,000 seed, I thought it was actually more than that. No, it's only 1,000 seed. So I think I'll do 5 on both flats, make sure I get to the end on both, and then if there's extra at the end, I'll go back over and I'll spread the extra amount among the 10 rows of different flats. Oops. So after I've got these guys all seeded up, so that's just like 1 row. I got 5 rows to do them. Once both flats are seeded, I just need to cover with a bit of soil on the top. Get the tag down. I would